And what you were saying there did like kind of clue me in on how to phrase it. I like my expectations being shattered. I don't like being lied to. That's kind of
Yes.
the difference there. I
Like
like
being
being
lied to.
surprised and not being deceived.
You were chuckling, Chase. Did you have something to add?
I like being lied to. Kind of gets me off, you know.
Uh,
Hello, fellow weebs and otakus, to another episode of Anime Fix, for your fix for all things anime. I'm Chase.
Lance.
I'm Kyle.
Hey, it's
Hello,
Kyle.
Kyle. What's
I'm back.
up?
Thank you for having me on again, guys. I'm excited.
What a pleasure to have you
Yeah,
back.
pleasure. Also, is a pretty awesome anime that you recommend as well.
Thank you.
I it was really good. I at first didn't think I was gonna like it. I actually started it over because because I was like, okay. I started over because when I was watching it, I was in a bad. I wasn't really focused and I was in a bad mood, and so I was like, what is this stupid anime I'm watching here, Kyle? And
That's
then
great.
so I put it off. And I was like, oh God, we're gonna record tomorrow. So I watched it from start to finish last night.
Yeah.
So last time I was on, I would consider a more traditional and more emotional and very me anime. And this time I picked something that I find interesting on a more technical level, if that makes sense. Like
Is
Yeah.
it is it the art? Because I thought the art
it's
was
the
good.
it's the art, but it's also the storytelling.
Do you want to explain it first, by the way, Kyle?
Well, yeah. So the anime I recommended to watch for this episode was the Idaten Deities Only No Peace, which is a really very new. I think it came out like within the last year, not even like 6 months ago.
Yep.
It's only 11 episodes. Boy howdy, is the ending of this season not satisfying at all.
No,
But it's by
not at all.
Studio Mappa, I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
Mappa. They do what is it? Solo
Back
leveling,
on
I believe.
Titan.
But the art is very interesting. But storytelling wise, what I kind of find interesting about it is it takes a lot of shonen tropes in general
Yeah.
and subverts them in a subvert is a very like loaded term. But really, I'm not trying to say it's like even criticizing shonen anime. It's just trying to take a different direction on a lot of those same decisions and tropes that shonen anime use and have baked into them. The biggest one I think being is that like it kind of asked a question like, what if we make the bad guys the underdogs, and how do we still make the story a little compelling if that's the
Yeah.
case? Um, and I think it's just it's very interesting to me as a storyteller to see them like kind of like ask narrative questions that don't get asked a lot, and sometimes it's a hit and sometimes it's a miss, but all in all I found it kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
What did you think, Chase?
Uh so like your point, like when you were saying that the bad guys, I didn't really think like obviously the demons, they're meant to be the bad guys, but like morally throughout the whole show I was like, well, even though you're supposed to be the good guys, you're doing some pretty crazy messed up bad guy stuff.
It's
It's just brutal as far as like especially Rin, which is the oldest one, just flying into the whole city, no care in the world, just slice a bunch of humans up with the demons. Can't tell them apart. Who cares? They'll grow back. They're just plants.
and their reason for trying to be less like bloody in that fight is not even, oh yeah, we should protect as many humans as we can. It's well, if we just kill everyone and there's enough chaos, then some of the demons will get away. So we should
Yep.
be at least a little bit
Yeah.
calm about this.
I found I think the word is ambivalence of the gods in regards to humans. Like, yeah, we don't really care if you're cheating each other or you're lying and selling sham products and ooh, you worship us, big deal. Just don't want worldwide chaos. And
Yeah.
so as long
Yeah.
as you guys are screwing with yourselves and not like causing the whole planet to fall apart, we really don't care.
Yeah.
I think there is a specific metaphor easily uses, which is like, yeah, we don't care about the individual trees, we care about the forest. Something along
Yes.
those lines.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
Uh,
Wait, did someone say that, or is that just an analogy you came
It was
up
actually
with?
said in it was said in the anime. I remember that.
Oh, I should pay
I think
attention more.
I think because
yeah,
he was I forget this. I'm not gonna so because it was a dub. I'm not gonna know any of these names.
oh shit, they have a dub?
They have a dub? I didn't know they had a
I'm
dub.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, rephrase. Because it was only sub, I'm not gonna
Oh,
know any
okay.
of these
I was
names.
like,
I
I
was
would
like,
have rather watched the dub.
yeah, like
There's so many different names.
I could have gotten so much done during my rewatch if there was a
I
dub.
know.
But yeah, they actually. Oh, so the four eyes, four
Mhm.
eyes, the nerdy stuff. Which, by the way, I love the fact that all the super powerful, strong, athletic gods, deities,
They're
are
mostly
like
dressed like dorks.
mostly dressed like what?
Dorks, but
Dwarves.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the scientist one, he's outsmart like the ones that aren't super powerful, really smart, seem to be the ones on both sides, the demon side and on the
Yeah,
deity side, sort of leading the way. Like they're not punching their way through things; they're thinking their way through things, which I thought was really
yeah.
super cool.
Mhm.
Um, but I forget where I was going with that.
Who knows?
well, like
Anyway,
a lot for essentially a battle anime, the fights are a very big set piece of the show. A lot of it is very tactical. A lot of from like you said, from both sides. Like the biggest ones being Yeasley, who's the I wrote down all the names. That's how I remember them.
oh, that's perfect.
Green tracksuit glasses guy, and Miku,
Yep.
the horny woman on the demon side.
Yeah.
I I mean, I want to specify like when I brought this up to Lance, I'm like, is it okay if I pick something incredibly horny and violent? And I was like, oh, let's go for it. And I'm like, yay.
It's okay, Kyle. We're gonna watch Domestic Girlfriend, so there's
Oh
nothing.
boy.
Yeah, nothing's gonna beat that. Or Citrus. I'm gonna watch that one too.
Oh, I have a story about Citrus.
Oh man. So you've seen both of them, right?
I have seen I think Domestic Girlfriend's the other. Okay, so I haven't seen all of Citrus.
I mean,
But
it's not very long, but
uh, when it first came out,
yeah.
Crunchyroll or Verve or whatever was just spamming me with advertisements for it,
Oh yeah.
and
For good reason.
I got it to stop by watching the first 3 episodes, and then it
Uh,
didn't
That's
send me another ad.
that's good. But so which one do you think will traumatize Lance the most? That's my goal.
If Domestic Girlfriend's the one I'm thinking it is, probably that one.
Yeah,
If
probably. Citrus is
I
more
think
wholesome.
I hope you both have a good time.
I've seen both of them. I had great times. I finished the manga of Domestic Girlfriend.
Hmm.
Big letdown.
Oh.
I know.
What
I was so sad.
the manga was a letdown, or the
Yeah, it didn't end well. Like I wanted it to, but that's all anime, so it's fine.
I mean, I was about to say, speaking of disappointing endings, man, did it just stop in the
Bro,
middle of a like? It wasn't even a cliffhanger.
you know why though?
I haven't looked into the production of it, but
The manga stops there, and there's no more source material.
are you fucking kidding me?
No, bro, because like
Ugh.
it just came out in 2018, so this is the point where they got in the manga, and they're not past this yet. There's no more source material, so they have to wait for the manga to catch up.
Holy shit!
I
I
know,
mean, like,
bro. That's so upsetting.
it doesn't strike me like it'll be a particularly long series, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I like it. Is they fast forward through a lot of in different ways. They fast forward through stuff that in again shonen manga it would take, you know, 1,000 chapters to get through.
Yeah.
The fights are snappy and really well animated and fast, and the exposition is usually comically sped forward.
Yes, that was one thing that caught me
Yeah.
off guard is when I'm watching and all of a sudden like the and the text is just flying. Like even
Oh, bro, I had to
the
stop it so many times
I
to
was like
read.
I tried to get the gist and I was like I'm not because I had a deadline, right? I'm like I'm watching
Yeah.
this for
I had a
tomorrow.
deadline to watch.
So I
I
was
mean,
like, you know
like
what? No.
one of the classic storytelling, it's the storytelling version of drawing hands is how to deliver exposition in a not boring way. And again, like one of the things I find fascinating about this tried to answer that question in a way that most shows don't, and it just literally tried to fast forward through the
It's great though.
exposition. Yeah, I respect the audacity.
We touched on it earlier, but I thought the art was definitely I got a bit of a Soul Eater vibe. Is that just me, or did you get the
Never
same
seen
thing?
it.
I know.
Did Mappa do Soul Eater? I forget who did Soul Eater. I'm pretty sure this is the same studio that did No Game No Light, No Game No Life. If you've seen that,
I haven't seen that one yet.
it's another interesting one. Yeah,
So
no,
they
Not
so they
the
did God of High School. They did Kakagura. They did. No one knows that one. No one knows that one. Nope. Banana Fish. You've seen that one, right?
no.
Nope. Yuri on Ice. They did that one.
that kind of makes sense.
Doro Hidoro.
Oh, Dorohedoro is interesting. That's also a batshit
And
show.
then Dororo. Dororo? I don't know. Jujutsu Kaisen. They did that one.
Oh, okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And they did Attack on Titan.
I know they did Attack. They're doing Attack on Titan right now.
I know.
No,
I know.
Not
I know.
so upset about the delay.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't do No Game No Life. I really thought No Game No Life because they both do the same like weird pink red outline thing. Although I think it was like I really like the art in No Game No Life, but it hurt my eyes in that when none of the outlines were actually like an outline color. In this, I think it worked out a lot better.
Yeah.
My eyes are garbage, by the way.
But yeah, I thought the art was very interesting, and sort of like and how they use it to tell the story. Like I was very pleased, and the reason why I said Soul Eater vibes is because I had the same experience when I was watching Soul Eater. Is like the first like couple episodes, I was not into it because I hated the characters. I was like, these are horrible people, and I was kind of getting the same thing here. But then after like episode 2, episode 3, I started to love it, and I was just I couldn't get enough of it. So
Nice.
On note of all the characters being assholes, I think that's another interesting thing because we start out seeing the demons doing complete
Demon.
war
Yeah.
crimes and atrocities and all that shit. And then again, we already talked about how the gods are just ambivalent to humanity, and it's very much in a like we're seeing as an audience we are relating to both sides of this conflict sort of in a bubble, and because both of them are bad to like no matter who wins, it kind of feels like humanity loses.
Yeah.
Like at least the Idaten won't like once the fight's done, they won't actively do any like they'll let humanity fuck itself up, but they won't make it worse. Whereas the demons are like actively kind of making it worse.
Yep.
But when you see just how colossal the power difference is between the protagonists and the antagonists, it just makes the
I
dynamic
didn't.
so
Yeah. I didn't think it was gonna be
weird.
that big of a power difference. Like you would think like the demons would be a little bit on par, but not even close. Not
Yeah.
even close.
what
No,
was it that told you that first when Yinsley's like chest had a hole just punched through it, and he's like, "Yeah, that kind of hurts." Or was it when Ren is standing there? She goes, "I just have one." After she's been fighting for however long, goes, "I just have one question. What are you?" And she goes, "I'm a demon." And then as she's about to do her attack, can I move anymore? Because she cut her head off, just with no hesitation, no time. Just
well, so that's a big shonen thing. Where it's like, why can't I move anymore? It's like your head's cut off. I know that already from the countless animes I've watched.
I did love the call. I was like, what did you do? Did you like paralyze him with a glare? It's like, oh, I mean, like, my grandfather could do that. I can't. No, I just cut her head off.
Didn't even move. It was
The
crazy.
what really like so I understood there was like a little bit of a power scaling thing that it was going to happen when like Hayato or like protagonist loud boy
That
um
boy.
yeah like fights that first like actual demon that we see in the beginning, and it's like kind of an even fight, but like
Yeah.
Hayato wins. It's like, okay, so clearly what we saw there isn't the strongest thing we're going to fight, and that was true. um but you get the demon side of this where it's like, okay, well, we have found our enemy finally, we need to deal with this now. Let's just send our strongest guy in to take care of the gods, and
Yep.
strongest guy comes in, and really the only reason that fight takes so long is Rin thinks she's fighting a human.
Yep.
And it really kind of puts things into scale, and each time you see the demons understand the hole they've dug themselves in by moving now, you feel a little bad. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Especially once like you start to understand like not their backstory, but like that they have human brains as well.
yeah.
They're just not they're not complete monsters like they used to be.
I also thought it was a very interesting choice to uh, what they did with Piscalat. I don't know how to pronounce it. The lady general who gets brainwashed.
Yeah. Yep.
Because she was a very prominent character design in the OP and the ED, and so
Yep.
I kind of just assumed, okay, she's gonna be around forever. By the way, I love how the ED is like three of the worst war criminals, just like
It's just
having a
like
day on the
it's just
town.
it's just like Jujutsu Kaisen. That
Oh,
ending.
fair.
They're just dancing.
They're just dancing.
Yep. Just dancing here. Just dancing.
And I expected her to be a bigger antagonist, and like with how the fucking show ended, I mean maybe, but she gets defeated so easily by the weakest Idaten.
Yeah. What's crazy
And
though is like Corey feels bad obviously from that ending.
mhm.
But does Piscalot not feel bad at all?
I say that was one of
Well,
those like she kind of looked like she was having second thoughts anyways. Like they do have this sort of run through of like it's kind of a running joke of Pissalot like wanting a relationship of some kind.
Yeah.
Like she's always teased for being a virgin by the other demons, and
Yep.
like the ED is like ends with her looking at a wedding dress and this whole thing. I'm like, is she gonna get a crush on
Easily.
someone? I don't know.
I think
Easily.
it's I
I mean,
think
who
it's
wouldn't have a
easily
crush on Easily? He's the worst. I mean, I love him, but
yeah. I mean, I think it's just because they don't I think they have a plan personally. So like cuz I think that both Paula and Easley can't feel pain obviously like humans or like demons. So I think they're faking it for the moment, and Piscalot is also faking it to like get into like where they are hiding and everything to take it over. Even
and
though it's like she's unbrainwashed, I think it's like the chance to like find where they are.
that is definitely an interesting thought because it has definitely had a like a run through of you, especially early on. You don't quite know how the matchups are going to go until you realize the Idaten have just completely eclipsed the demons. And so it does kind of make sense to me that like, okay, like we end at this technically like everything's gone wrong for the Idaten moment. It makes sense that no, it
No,
wasn't.
no, it's all part of the
You fell
plan.
for the classic blunder again.
and to kind of you brought up a good point, Chase, about that. How you think it's fake. Piss a lot. I don't know how to say it. Pick a lot.
Piccolo, it's
It's
Piccolo.
Piccolo.
it's spelled like Pisces and a lot, so I don't.
I see. I'm gonna call General P.
Mhm.
Um, she spent a great deal of time with Easley. about the whole endeavor, planning with him, researching with him, strategizing with him. Corey was away for a great deal of time helping the other Idaten train.
Yeah,
And
especially Paula.
yeah, especially Paula. So like I could see why Corey sort of had that like hesitation where General Pete doesn't, because he doesn't really know the full extent of what's going on.
Yeah, that's fair because he was he was younger, obviously, when most of it went down.
He got some standard brainwashing instead of just the ha ha ha. I have lobotomized you brainwashing.
Yeah, that's
Which
fair.
were you freaked out at all when he said like, "Yeah, I did this on humans for a while before I figured out who
Yeah,
I
man. I was
was."
like,
That
there's really no
moment,
moral compass.
yeah, that moment very much kind of uh put a lot of stuff into context for me. Like it put the like I kind of already like sorry, rolling back just a little bit. Like with writing, there's this whole idea of like a sort of author audience contract of like this is what you're getting into. Like there's twists and turns, but you kind of have to promise what the story is going to be at the head of time. Otherwise, it feels cheap or surprising or jolting for a reader. And I think that um, I think this show did a good job of setting up that contract while also continuously surprising just how little the gods care.
Yeah.
Um, man, yeah, the idea of morality in the show is interesting to me. I also uh, uh, like I'd say the most quote typical moral character we see is let's see, I have her name written down. Giltina, the priestess girl, the human
Yep.
version of the
The
priestess
human.
girl.
Wait, the human version? Okay.
Yeah. We don't see a whole lot from eventually like when Gil is the Idaten version.
Yeah.
We don't see a whole lot from her, and I'm kind of like I admit when I was watching it, I'm kind of like, what is the point? What is the narrative point of Gil when Paula exists? Because we already have, frankly, a new Idaten who is cute, and I feel like there's a bigger plan for Gil, but I don't know what
I
it
think
is.
I think I know the plan for Gil, like personally, is Hayato is the one that obviously is focused on fighting and just getting stronger, but Gil also feels that way because he imprinted Hayato imprinted on her because he pulled her out of the thing to fast track her, but she also has the thoughts and feelings of human Gil, so she will be the Adatin that will focus more on human like rights and like the better moral compass of the Adatin to like have
And
reason because easily just experimenting on thousands of humans like it's no big deal.
and Paula is bird brained. I mean, frankly, I don't know if you caught like because it's really only mentioned
She's
in some of the
very
really
sneaky. She's very
well,
sneaky and quiet
She's
because she
very
can
sneaky
get.
and quiet.
yeah.
She's Snake.
In the in some of the fast tracked exposition bits, I didn't catch it until my rewind. Is that like she is like specifically called out as being made up of like birds more than humans,
Yeah, that's
and
why she's a bird brain.
yeah, and I found that fascinating. Well, one of the reasons why I like this so much is I am fascinated by the idea of like conceptual beings. Like I explore it in some of my writing. It's a whole thing. Um, but the idea that like they get stronger by simply wanting to get stronger, and yes, there is a period of time to get to that point, but the sort of one-to-one will to power ratio I find fascinating, and I found it particularly interesting with Rin, where like flashback Rin is like scared little girl until she decided to
Yeah.
essentially not be, and that's how we get the Rin we are today.
Yeah, that's very true.
It
Not
was about 100. So she's been training for about what 700 years because
yeah,
she
I would
was
say so.
it was 100 years after the Idaten put the demons away behind the seal, right? Or was it
Yeah.
150, something like that, when she saw
Well,
animals come back?
It was 100 when animals came back. You're right. 700 years, I think, because the seal's been intact for 800 years, and then yeah, 100 years or so is when nature kind of returned after the original
And,
demon invasion.
and then she didn't start training until that point because she's like, they're not coming back.
Mhm.
Um, sort of that question that raises for me is, if she's as strong as she is at 700 years, of 7 years, let's say she didn't train at all before, she was just kind of wandering through life, and then at that point she's like, I'm going to get strong and powerful, and she is where she is at 700 years. She's not the strongest that's ever existed. Her grandfather was more powerful. That the other Idaten were also more powerful. Like, makes me wonder, like, how many years is the lifespan of one of these Idaten? Like, how many have existed ever? Can they
Yeah.
die?
I don't think I think forever until someone kills them.
But
And they
like,
definitely. Oh, I do think it's interesting that. Well, we never see any Idaten die in our thing.
Yeah.
But Rin does mention that, like, Rin mentions that she has seen Idaten die, just by virtue of, like, I think at that first fight with Nickel, she's like, I never saw a single demon kill an Idaten one-on-one. Like, you guys only were winning because there was just millions of you rampaging across the world.
Yeah.
Uh, and that sort of does lead me to believe, like, they are functionally immortal, and we don't really know what kills them. We still just don't have an answer to that question, and that's also kind of terrifying.
Also fun.
Mhm.
I do have a question, Kyle, not to like sidetrack or anything, but like when you were saying to set up the story, like to show the audience like what's coming to the like what's going to happen in the show and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Don't spoil anything because I want Lance to watch this anime too. But how would you explain Charlotte? You've seen
Uh,
Charlotte, right?
I actually haven't seen Charlotte.
Oh no! God, we gotta watch Charlotte now. Oh man.
Uh,
Okay, I'll leave it at that because we're definitely
uh,
gonna watch that, Lance.
are either of you aware of Madoka Magica?
Oh yeah, we did an
that was
episode on that.
Okay.
yeah, that was the first anime. So I'll say this: that was the first anime I watched with any seriousness, because Tori wanted me to watch it.
Mhm.
And it's like this cute magical girl, and then episode 3 comes, and then the one gets her head decapitated. I was like, "What the hell is this? Like, what am I
What's
watching?
going on?
Is
This isn't
this
Sailor Moon.
real?"
I will say,
Um,
like, that was the biggest successful stretch of that audience author pact I have seen. But I think it still got away with it because throughout those first 3 episodes, before something really bad happens, something feels off in that show.
Yep.
Everything's
yeah,
just a little more fucked up than you expect it to be.
there's
And then episode 3 happens.
kind of reminds me of there's a dating sim game. It's called Doki Doki Literature Club. I'm sure you've heard of it or played
Oh
it.
yeah,
Yep.
I
Oh yeah.
played it.
It's basically a horror game, but like you don't find out it's a horror game until later on, but something
Mhm.
doesn't feel right the entire time you're playing it. Like, what's going on? This is kind of weird.
Yeah.
All these characters are off-putting. So but yeah, yeah, Madoka Magic is great.
Mhm.
Anyway,
I can think about Charlotte now.
It's not an anime, but one of the ones I don't think it worked well for was the Invincible show. Specifically the show, not the comic series. And that is to say, I'll make this quick since it's not anime, but
All
Invincible is
good.
based on a like superhero, like I'm not sure it's properly indie, but not a DC, not a Marvel, but a superhero story. And it's a very violent, very like gory show. But in the show the in the um cartoon specifically, it starts off very much vibing as just a normal superhero, like superpowered people punching each other sort of vibe, and the hyperviolence kicks in at the end of the first episode, and it just sort of whiplashed me in a way that I didn't like. Now I loved the show as a whole. It's just that like I didn't appreciate being tricked there the way I appreciated being kind of tricked in Madoka Magica.
Yeah, I kind of like my expectations being uh, broken, I guess. 'Cause so many times when I go into like a story, I'm already imagining what I think is going to happen, and I kind of get disappointed. I'm right.
I think that. Oh,
So like
I didn't mean to go this.
a
Sorry.
really not really good example, another non-anime example is like Star Wars Last Jedi.
Mm,
A lot of people were not happy with it. Won't get into reasons why, but I loved it. Right, I loved it because there was so many fan theories. There was so many videos out there about what they thought was going to happen, where they thought it was going to go. It was the market was saturated, right? And being a Star Wars fan, I watched them all, and I was like, oh man, I don't know. It seems like everything's already been. Why am I going to see this now? And then none of that came true, right? And so I was so ecstatic. I was like, oh my god, I don't know what's going to happen next. And so I kind of liked. I get what you're saying though about that contract when because you can do it well or you can do it cheap, and cheap is kind of annoying because it's like you're intentionally lying
yeah.
to the audience. So
And what you were saying there did like kind of clue me in on how to phrase it. I like my expectations being shattered. I don't like being lied to. That's kind of
yes,
the difference there. I
Like
like
being
being
lied to.
surprised at being deceived.
you were chuckling, Chase. Did you have something to add?
I like being lied to. Kind of gets me off, you know.
Uh, we see what you're into.
I know what
Speaking of
anime
getting
you
off,
want.
speaking of
Uh,
getting off, can we talk about Miku for a second?
yeah, don't worry. This whole episode is gonna be explicit, so
Yeah.
talk about what you want.
No, it just
uh, what was weirdest about her? The fact that she is just a horn dog for everything, or the fact that there was a period of the series where she's like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to repopulate the demon population with them," but she's like, "They're kids." I was like, "Oh well, I mean, eventually they'll be old enough. You know, it's no big deal." Like,
They weren't even that
and then
old though.
well, you're right. They weren't even that old. But then she goes, "I feel so ashamed, but I'm so satisfied at the same time." And
Yeah,
no, I'm
the
disgusted with
demons.
myself for I'm disgusted
Yeah,
with
man.
myself for how satisfied I am right now. And that
Oh my
whole bit.
god.
can we talk about how her character design is just a goth dom Hatsune Miku,
Oh, is that why I like her?
and her name is Miku, and how is that like? I understand Japanese copyright law is not the same as American copyright law, but I still am like, wow, you just really made your own
I
goth
never,
dom OC of this very popular character.
I never put two and two together, but that is hilarious. That is
um,
hilarious. She just red instead of blue.
Yeah,
um,
who are we
Look at
comparing this to?
look at
you
Miku.
do you
He
not
doesn't
know
know.
who Hatsune Miku is?
No, he doesn't.
She wrote
He-
Star Wars, and oh, not Star Wars. She wrote Harry Potter, and is the Prime Minister of Russia.
What? How you spell it? Is it MEKU or
I'll just I'll just drop a
yeah?
image in the Discord. I
This
can.
is like Japan's mascot,
Yeah, no.
like the country's mascot.
She was like the first like holographic pop idol.
Okay, all right, I see it.
Um, the reason why I mentioned that she wrote Harry Potter is there's this sort of running joke that whenever someone is canceled, you just say that Hatsune Miku was in charge of the thing that they made, um,
Yep.
so that you can still
Right,
love the thing that was made.
it's awesome.
Uh,
But yes, you're right. I can see it now. Red instead of
um,
blue.
It's just funny.
I think it was very fascinating how they used her though as this sort of again like a counterpart to Easily. Like she can't fight. Even Paula, the super weakest would not have been able, or like she would not have been able to even handle Paula. But she is the most dangerous simply because she is incredibly smart and she
She's
is
the
incredibly observant.
she's the mastermind behind the whole demon like resurgence part of it, you know.
Um, I thought it was brilliant at the start of the like invasion. Like, they notice something changes. The scientist guy and whoever, I can't remember. They go and talk to Miku. It's like, hey, how can you take a look at this? And they realize that there's just like a doppelganger dressed as Miku on the couch. And it's like, I'm sorry, like she told me to give you this if I was found out. And the letter says, "Oh yeah, I realized we were fucked, so I just left."
Yep.
Yeah. By the way, if like insert what they just saw happens, expect an immediate invasion.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Oh god.
that was one of my favorite like gags, I guess, in the show.
I really who was the one demon? I don't think we saw too much of her till after the escape, but the one that they all say she's stupid. So basically, they're Paula, but they keep her around because she's able to steal money very easily.
The queen and the emperor's daughter.
The Emperor's Daughter, I think.
Yeah, what's her name?
She the daughter? I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's one of the 3 kids that they had escape.
Okay. I would have loved to see more of a what if I were to I would have loved to see that sort of chase for all those escaped demons be a little bit more drawn out personally. Because I would have loved to see the sort of like what is his name? Ponti-san?
Prontia.
Prontia. I would have loved to see like a more drawn out chase underground and like a little joke like, oh, you think you can get away from me? And he's just running through all these tunnels. He's not smart enough to realize that these were all fake tunnels, and he escaped. I would have loved to see that play out a little bit more. But those demons, I felt they were a little bit too much of a side character, and I feel like I wish we would have fleshed them out. I don't know. Do you guys feel the same way about that?
It's all right. I mean, I just saw them as Brandy's and the Emperor's kid. That's all I saw them as, except for because like the 2 that just made the baby, they were just doing that to show like this is gonna be the distraction for the demons to like communicate, you know. And then the other dude was the other kid was gonna be the person to communicate back and forth between all the groups, and then the one lady that steals money, she was just pretty much useless.
I thought it was kind of
Just like the nun.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of interesting how this is sort of a topic change, but mainly like it's kind of connected in that the way they kind of do a time skip with
Yeah.
just I can't remember how many years passed, but like near
7.
the end
So
of the
there's
show. Yeah.
7. Yeah, 2 and then 7. I don't know why that stuck out because that.
We're so proud of that. 2 and 7. 2 and 7. I know it.
Just the idea that time passes so casually in this story, because we are dealing with conceptual deities. They don't like care about the years as much as human characters would. I thought that was interesting, and the fact that like we sort of see the demon kids as they were escaping, and then what they're up to in 7 years, trying to hide and stay alive. I will say, like, on the note of those characters not getting that much development, one thing I think we can say about the show is that it respects your time. Like, everything that happens is very quick. It doesn't spend more time on anything than it needs to. And I'd say if there's a question of, is this long enough? It will always, like, caution towards the answer of yes. Like, it will always assume that this scene is already too long.
And you see, and that's probably just a style interest that I have that's different than others. I like the long, drawn out,
In the same
really
way.
complicated, detailed stories. Which not to say that this was bad. I
Okay.
was pleasantly surprised that I liked as much as I did. Um, but
So, and
it's definitely more of a junk food
Yeah.
anime for me than a sort of like a thinking. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna feel something. Or I'm gonna think something. Anime.
uh, I it was kind of the opposite for me, but for a very different reason. Like what I've sort of mentioned here is definitely like it's less about how I engage with art and more how I engage with the making of art that's got me so interested in this show. Um, I just like it kind of feels like the author was almost answering questions only they were asking, if that makes sense. Like the show I don't think this show is for very few people. Um, and I'm certainly one of them.
I enjoy it. The What's crazy though, like because they didn't spend so much time on certain things, I would prefer if they spent so much longer on a certain arc, because that way I wouldn't have to wait years for another season.
That's fair.
Do we know if there's going to be a manga coming out anytime soon for the for like volume 2, or is that still
uh, so this is adapted of 5 volumes. It took him
okay?
2.5 years to write those 5 volumes. So, and he just finished the 5th volume.
Do we have a sixth volume in the works?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure.
Probably. And to be fair, like it's not exactly uncommon for anime to catch up to their manga. Um,
Hunter Hunter.
well, so uh, behind the scenes, I am currently chewing through all 1,000 episodes of One Piece, and we
Oh,
just got
why?
to. Honestly, it's surprisingly great.
I mean, I bet,
I've
but
cried twice, and it's actually pretty hard to get me to cry in fiction. It's really good. Uh, but anime-wise, we got to the Enies Lobby arc, which is a really powerful, really good arc. But I think this is the first time they really caught up to the manga because they keep pulling tricks in really climactic uh, uh, parts to spread out time. Like they like we just got to a part where they shoved in 2 filler episodes in the middle of like a really important fight, probably because they ran out of source material and were scrambling.
yeah. I gotta finish Naruto first before I try One Piece.
Mhm.
Finish
It's
Naruto. I gotta watch Shippuden.
it's One Piece is definitely like, especially as you guys are quickly becoming the hottest new voice in anime journalism. Uh,
Ah, you heard it
I
here, folks.
yeah, this artist, this comic artist and writer of amazing renown has declared you two anime president. Um,
Where's my trophy? I need a plaque on the wall right here,
I definitely think
commemorating this.
One Piece is a worthy marathon, like long term, like work through it through like 3 years sort of deal. Because I so talking about One Piece, ran about One Piece.
Go right
I watched
ahead.
it when it first came out in America, and I didn't like it. And part of that was because the 4 Kids dub guts it. It's not a good dub. I love that dub, but it's really bad. That's why I love it. Um, but also because for being an anime, it like the art style is very West inspired, and at that time, I was going to anime for the new and different and cool stuff, and One Piece like is kind of wacky and it goofy and it's got a lot of round shapes where anime normally has pointed shapes. It's kind of a weird thing to talk about, but as it goes on, it tells more and more serious stories, and eventually, like after falling off of it for 5 years, it came back on Toonami when Toonami came back, and it started with a really serious arc, and I'm like, oh shit, is this the same show? It's really good. Um, but the main thing about One Piece that I want to bring up while I'm on an anime podcast is an interview I read from Oda, the writer of One Piece, who was asked why Luffy has such a dumb power, which is like stretchy, inflatey powers, and that is because he wanted to make sure that no matter how dark the story got, he could always look at Luffy's dumb face and chuckle. And as someone who likes
What?
writing dark shit, I respect that approach.
Huh. He is pretty stupid looking.
He is very stupid looking. I also appreciate that there's several scenes where like it just lights Luffy's face in the right way to make him look like a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, bro.
Um, and given he has kind of the Goku high pitched like excited voice,
Yeah.
it kind of uh, it's a nice juxtaposition with the like one-eyed scar under the cheek, like I'm a kill you and not feel a thing about it kind of glare.
Like when Goku's eyes go white and he's just with
Mhm.
rage. Yeah. Lance wouldn't
Um,
know about that.
I wouldn't know about that. I don't watch Dragon Ball except for Battle of the Gods. Favorite cat in any anime.
I like the in-between arcs and
Don't shake
dramas.
your
I
head.
think they're the
Don't
best.
shake your head at me. Jeez.
Oh, you said so many
Only
wrong things in that one sentence.
the only other cat I like just as much is the Baron from Cat Returns.
Not even a cat, it's a statue. Calm down. You picked the one not cat in the whole movie.
I like Reynaldo Moon. There we go. Ace hates the Cat Returns.
I hate it. I hate it. It's so bad. What do you say?
I'm so sorry. I haven't seen it.
Good. You're lucky.
Not worse than Makia.
It's worse than
Is the-
Medea.
Have you seen Kyle? Have you seen Makia when the Promised Flower blooms? Don't.
I have
Don't.
not. In
Don't
fact,
watch.
I'm impressed how many manga, or no, sorry, how many anime you guys have brought up just in the course of this particular Discord call that I've never even fucking heard of. Because
Really?
I've been in this hole a lot longer than you guys, and I'm impressed. I am impressed.
We need to start reviewing more popular animes, Lance.
You guys are going hard.
Yeah.
If Kyle is saying that we're too deep, then maybe we need
Well,
to come
no,
up
we're
there.
only
Oh,
deep because we
no.
only watch movies.
I wouldn't even say that. Like it's not about being too deep. It's just like this is what like I think people come to anime podcasts for is like to hear about shows that they either haven't heard of or wouldn't watch unless someone else has watched it first and said it's okay.
That's
And
fair. That's fair. Don't
I
watch Makia.
Please
personally,
don't.
I appreciate the work you guys do.
Oh, well, thank you, Kyle. We appreciate
you,
the work
Kyle.
you do.
Aw.
Yeah.
Anyone have any other thoughts about the Idaten Deities only no piece?
Favorite characters? Or favorite character of the series so far?
I'm gonna get his name wrong, but Pontia.
Frontia?
Yeah, I really like him.
I have to say easily because he keeps finding ways to surprise me in a good way.
Surprisingly, I would have to say the same thing about my favorite character, and that's Miku.
Miku's up there with me too. Like, and not just because I'm a thirsty fucking lonely boy.
She always surprises me in a good way as well.
I also really like Rin, surprisingly. Kind of
No.
surprisingly, because she's kind of flat.
by surprise before the massacre. I thought that whole mini arc was kind of cool
Mhm.
because we're kind of led to believe that the demons are like the more like because they've immersed themselves in human culture for several hundreds of or several years at this point. Kind of like imply that they're like great strategists, but not only did the Idaten outpower and outmaneuver, but also outsmart throughout the whole thing. So I thought that was kind of neat.
Another thought that I had was, do you think if Rin and Prantia weren't in the equation at all, like in the show, would it have been a more interesting dynamic between the two sides?
I don't think it would be more interesting, but I think it would be more because I think it would be more conventional.
Yeah, that's fair. It's very true.
I don't think the show is the same if there isn't that like
Power
weird
dynamic.
reverse power dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'd be I think it would be more I think it would be just as interesting, only because easily would have to come up with even more creative ways to outsmart demons, right? So we might see even because right now he's got sort of an ex machina approach. It's like, oh, okay, if this doesn't work out, they're just going to destroy the whole town, right? And they can do it easily. If they weren't there, he would have to be more creative in his strategy, and I think it would be interesting to see that explored. How can he outsmart them even further without this sort of nuclear option he has available to him?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you?
Who you talking to?
Talking to you, Chase. I answered the
Okay,
question.
fine.
So,
Can you repeat the question? I got lost in your eyes.
Do you think it would be more interesting if Rin and Prontia weren't in the equation?
I think so. That's just because I like shonen anime.
Fair. I wouldn't even say like it. I just don't think it would be this show anymore. I think it would
That's
be
true.
It would be a different.
completely different beast.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah, I don't have any more thoughts on that.
The ED and OP animation.
I enjoy
Both really
the OP. I
Yeah.
enjoy the song of OP. Like the I'm not sure what song that is, but like I've heard it before, and it's
Well,
like
I bookmarked
so good.
it. I saved it.
You did?
I was
Yeah.
like, I gotta save this. This is my new.
It's a
so
good
good.
jam.
Yeah, it's very good. Let me pull it up here.
So I'm kind of getting like I am dipping my toes in animation. And I sort of have this like long-term practice project where I just like take the shots of that OP and try and make them using my characters from my horror comic.
Nice.
Because like it's a very impressively animated OP, but it's also very simple. The animations are used very effectively. The drawings are used very effectively, but there aren't actually that many drawings, and they're manipulated mostly using effects rather than like hand drawn like movement. And I respect that. Like they get a lot with a little, and I think that's really cool.
Yep. My favorite OP of all time is actually a recent one. It's the girlfriend OP. If you ever heard that.
I've heard of the show. I have not.
Oh, the OP is such a banger. Such a banger. My favorite. I listen to it on repeat.
You know what my favorite is of all time?
Attack on Titan.
Psychopath.
No, Psychopath.
Actually, Attack on Titan is probably Linked Horizons is the name of the song. It's I think it was in season 1 or was it maybe season 2, but yeah, I think that one's probably I think about that a lot.
Attack on Titan has some really good OPs, yeah.
But as a second, it's not because it's not my favorite in everything. Second half of season 1 Psychopaths, I absolutely loved.
That was a good one too. I find like in my case is the quality of an OP does surprisingly affect my opinion on, if not the show, the like the season of the show, because like
Yeah.
an OP is kind of, I'm the type of person that almost never skips an OP because it kind of gets me hyped for the, like, it's a nice break in watching a show, and then even when I'm binging it, like gets me back in mind to be hyped up for the show.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
and that
I thought
was
the same.
it was honestly one of the things that turned me on to Idaten. It was, I'm like, oh, this OP is the like amazing. Let's watch the show, and the show didn't disappoint.
I felt the same way with your last recommendation of Death Parade.
Yeah,
Death
that
Parades
was
is
really
also
good.
really fun.
It is.
Despite being like weirdly AU. They're all just in Death Parades. They're all just having fun and joking around.
There, Ace Kyle, I just shared for the anime.
Yeah, the girlfriend one. The reason I like it, I just found this out, is it's one of my favorite bands from
Ooh.
Japan. That's why I like it.
There was another. Oh.
Do you think that you would listen to Japanese pop music if it wasn't for anime? If you discovered it on your own, independent of anime, do you think you would still listen to it and have the same experience, or is the fact that okay?
If in my case, it would have been a much bigger jump to get into it, but I think I would have. By virtue of like anime OPs were definitely my like intro into it, but since then I have organically found the same genre of music essentially that I do like that isn't connected to anime that I know of. Anyways.
For me, I think I would have, only because not directly related to anime, but because of the story I've told about AMVs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I was gonna say that AMVs.
Yeah, because I didn't realize what I was like. Animated music video, right? But I thought it was animation made for the music.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know at the time that it was actual anime.
Yep.
Stupidly,
It's
and
hilarious.
so I
That's a
love
really
that
good
kind
story.
of. I know. And because I was really fascinated with the music then, of course, I had no idea what I was really listening to. I just was like, this is a really good song, and I kind of, I put it away, and I'm not thinking twice about it. I didn't think about the band or the name or where it came from. But going back now, a lot of that stuff is stuff I have bookmarked right now that I listen to quite frequently, because I have that sort of like nostalgia about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I really actually like this.
The first J-pop anime opening song I think I ever that really hit me was Asterisk from Bleach, the first Bleach opening.
Never seen
And
Bleach.
honestly, like, don't
Okay. Come back.
like well, the first, like, I would like kind of recommend the first arc, but as soon as like the show becomes the show, stop watching, because like the setup's great, but I don't think it, like, of all the big three from that time, like it's not
Well,
great.
it wasn't part of the
I
big three to me, so.
well, yeah. I just think it had a great concept, but I think it suffered under the Shonen Jump release 15 pages a week grind.
Yeah.
Um,
What's your
whereas I
big
think,
three?
well, I there's sort of a colloquial like Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, like they were post Dragon Ball. They
Okay.
were one of the
Okay,
big,
there it is.
like they were the big powerhouse.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
DBZ's number one. I got you.
Number
my
one
thoughts on
Saturday
Dragon Ball
morning
Z aside,
cartoon.
yeah,
Shut up, Lance.
my
Shut up,
shut up, Kyle.
Go ahead, Kyle.
I was
He keeps rudely interrupting you.
I was gonna say, shut up, Klein. Come back when you're a main character.
Yep. Oh god, that's funny.
It was particularly when I was in high school, it was like a just commonly accepted thing because they're powerhouses of Shonen Jump. It wasn't so much about whether they were good or not. It was about how much money they were making at the time.
100%.
And to be fair, like I think Naruto's got a lot going for it. Not this whole series isn't strong.
What?
And I mean that's the case with One Piece too. I have a like I understand now why One Piece is the most popular like manga in Japan. Like it's really strong. It surprises me how strong it is. Um, but at any rate, I think whereas One Piece and Naruto, I think the weekly like the grind really helped get those stories told. I think it hampered Bleach. I think Bleach would have been better with a little more time between each chapter, a little more thought behind the arcs. And that's not even me. Like I'm not trying to be like nasty to it or anything. I like I can recognize burnout when I see it, and there's a lot of burnout in Bleach more than those other two.
Yeah.
Um, but that first OP is bombing.
I'll have to listen to it.
uh, Trying to think of. I think that might be the end of my. That's certainly the end of my little notepad I wrote notes on.
Yeah, that's the end of my brain right there. I wish I took
Kyle,
notes.
I know he started taking notes, and I kind of wish I took notes too.
Same.
At the same time, it's different. Okay, so like when we started like with like your name, Weathering with You, right, and all that stuff. That was for like at least for me, those were things I already seen before we watched and recorded.
Mm.
It's different when watching something brand new because like I really want to immerse myself in it as much as I can. I want to focus in on it, and I feel like pausing would go down and go, okay, what did I just, what did I think of when I watched that right then and there? Really sort of detracts from my experience going through. So notes would help. It's kind of unless we want to really go, okay, we're gonna watch it on Sunday, then we're gonna watch it again on Wednesday, take notes, and then we're gonna record on Saturday. So
I mean,
none of us have time for that.
For the record, if I was running the show and not guesting, I wouldn't have bothered. It's the fact that like, oh, I'm a guest. I need to actually make sure I'm a good guest. This is the things I want to talk about.
Sometimes we didn't watch the show, man. You're good.
I've only one time not watched anything. What was it? What was the anime? You watched all of it. I didn't watch any of it on the rewatch.
Lance watched the Spark Notes.
I didn't even watch. I started like the first 5 minutes.
What was it? What was it? Summer Wars? That wasn't Summer Wars because we watched that together.
No.
It was something like that.
No, it wasn't like because we both watched Belle.
Garden of Words?
No, we both watched Garden of Words.
But did you rewatch it?
It was a rewatch for me and it was a first for you.
Yeah, and you couldn't hold a conversation, save your life.
Oh, it was Spirited Away.
Oh, it was Spirited Away, wasn't it?
It was Spirited Away. I what do you mean I couldn't hold? I followed. I remembered some of the things.
Some of the things.
To be fair, I've seen Spirited Away like a dozen times. I've easily seen it the most of any Miyazaki movie.
Man.
Hey,
not even because I want to. It keeps happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spirited Away. We watched it because we watched Belle, and Tori read a review that said that Belle won more awards than Spirited Away, and I was like, huh, interesting, because I remember liking Spirited Away a lot more than Belle, so that's why we watched it.
There's a lot more people that are into anime now, so.
Oh, we did talk about that too. Yep. Kyle, question for you: Miyazaki or Shinkai?
You better get this right.
So here's the real trick: is I know Miyazaki's name, and I've only heard Shinkai's name. Like I know everything Miyazaki did, but I've probably seen a lot of Shinkai stuff that I haven't put on to Shinkai's name. So let me just do a quick cursory look as to things Shinkai's made.
I feel like making merch that says Shinkai is better than Miyazaki. Don't change my mind.
I am on board. We should do it. Even if only we're the only ones that buy it, I would pay.
Or like just like Shinkai with a box next to it with a check mark, Miyazaki with nothing or an X.
I love it.
Oh, that'd be great.
That would be awesome.
I'm going to give a very big asterisk with what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Miyazaki, but only because Shinkai's still currently underrated. Like Miyazaki has some clout that has allowed him
I
some
get it.
bigger
He's
visions
popular.
that,
You're
yeah,
you're
like
you want to go with the
I
popular stuff.
the
Yeah.
I
The
I
underdog.
like the line is so close to me that the popularity is almost from a like cultural, like I have to give some cultural kudos to that. Miyazaki has managed to reach more people. Um, I think they're both incredibly talented, and I hope to one day make anything remotely as beloved as anything either of them made. I picked a
And I
different
think
path.
you will. I
I
I
think
think
you
you will
will.
too.
Yes.
oh, thank you. Why? Sorry.
Oh, no,
I'm
I was just
not happy for
no,
that.
I was making a joke. Um, you do we have anything else we want to talk about?
I'm good.
I think yeah, I think that's all I got.
All right.
Check out my podcast, Anachronistic.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Oh
You
wow.
want to plug your what you're
Plug it
working on
out.
right now?
Plug it out.
uh,
You know, if you
so
tell anyone about your art commissions, I'm gonna reach my hand through the screen and slap you. All right.
okay, so I do a lot of things. I do comics. I do just general writing stuff. But since you're listening to a podcast right now, I'm assuming you like podcasts. I'm doing a science fiction podcast called Anachronistic. That's about a guy who travels the country fixing rifts in time and space, alongside the love of his life, who he knows he's never going to end up with. It's really sad. I'm really proud of it. We just released episode 10, which is the hardest thing I've made in my entire career. It was really challenging, and I'm really proud of it. I'm also open for art commissions in like a week. I'm wrapping up some stuff. So if you want me to draw your characters, I'll be open to do that soon.
Are you planning on selling? I know that you just ran your Kickstarter and your graphic novel is going to be coming out, and I'm a proud uh, patron of that. Do you plan on selling that outside of like was that just like going to be a limited edition, or are you planning on consistently producing and selling that? And if
uh,
so, where people buy
so
it?
I do short runs of all my comics. I always, with Kickstarters, I print more than I sell with the Kickstarter. I have a store at kylenewbridge.com, where everything I've currently printed is for sale there. Um, I have in particular, my horror series Of This Light. If you like dark anime, you'll probably like Of This Light. The art style is a little more hybrid, but it's definitely like manga inspired. And I have the original Punchline is Death flip book, which is like I want to say maybe a third of what's going to be included in the book that comes with the Kickstarter, for sale there as well. And so yeah, that's where you can buy my books. I'm not in any bookstore. Well, I'm in a couple of bookstores, but they're small in Seattle, and you probably haven't heard of them. uh, one
Still
day I'd
counts.
like to be in, yeah. One day I'd like to be in, some of the bigger stores. But I'm a very small publisher. That I mean, like I am growing. I am officially like this is my career. I think that was even the case last time you guys had me on. Is I made the jump to full time with this. But yeah, I'm eking out a modest living. But
I uh, I was gonna say I almost kind of like the sort of I like the grassroots effort. You
mhm.
know, like I'm sure like being in a bigger store is nice, but at the same time, I think I kind of like depending on what's being produced, it's kind of nice to stumble across it in like a small little town bookstore or art store or some where you don't know what you're gonna find. Like I can go to Books a Million and I have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to see there. If I go to the Ricky Dink bookstore on the corner that Grandma has been running for the last 40 years because she's just passionate about the written word.
Mhm.
I think that there's gonna be more interesting stuff to discover there. Go ahead, Chase.
Kyle, I have a quick question. So, my wife went on your website and got two of your books, The Arc of This Light and The Punchline's Death. Pretty exciting stuff.
I was wondering if that was her. I got the
That
email
is her.
while we were talking.
Yeah, that was her. Yeah, but like she also sent me this page that is. I also want these leggings in the future. You know what I'm about?
It's the leggings that say "kill me on the butt."
Yep.
Finally, I
What's
knew
that
those
about?
would be for someone.
What's that about?
So, oh fuck, I don't.
Because she
have
wants
all
them
the
so bad.
So, in Punchline is Death, the comic that I kickstarted, and like the flip book that there, I frequently draw myself with a mug that says "Kill me" on it. It's kind of a running gag. So I printed, I made a merch mug that says "Kill me" on it, and I was really proud of that.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna buy
Um,
that.
and then I realized that you can put that on pretty much anything. And I'm reminded of some of my favorite merch items to hear about. Specifically, Night Vale has some like leggings and shorts that say "creepy" on the butt. And my favorite one is a bit of merch for the podcast, the Magnus Archives, that says "Ceaseless Watcher, turn your gaze on this wretched thing" on the butt. And I figured someone would find it as funny as I do. I'm glad someone does.
I know. Yeah, she's so excited about
Um,
him.
I-
That's great.
Kyle, I'm going onto your site right now because I actually haven't bought any of your merch yet. I've only bought your book and your artwork, so I'm gonna see what kind of merch you have going on. And if you have a hoodie, I'll probably buy it. I really
Same.
like
I
it.
don't, but I can make one very
Could
easily.
you make a cut?
I-
Could you make a custom? Well,
Well,
maybe not custom, but
I
Not custom.
I am at the stage in my merch journey where I've sold several of those mugs, but that's about it, and a couple of t-shirts. If you guys have like ideas for merch you'd like to see, it's very easy with the site I use to just make new merch, and I haven't hit the up clap yet. And
I think it would be funny if you made a some type of like clothing that says the Kyle Newbridge anime, whatever it was you said at the beginning.
The Cali Ridge anime show featuring
Yeah.
me.
Yep, that'd be great. That'd be great.
I'll make you guys a graphic for this particular episode.
That would be awesome.
That'd be great.
All right. Well, thanks
All I
for returning, Kyle. Glad to have you back. Looking forward to having you on many more episodes in the future.
I'm excited too. This is a good time. I love talking about anime. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, anytime. All right, guys. We will catch you all next time.
Bye.